I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority, honestly.
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?
Peace, Black family. I hope everyone is doing well today. We are so excited. We're going to move quickly because our guest has a limited time with us today. So I just want to just hope and pray everybody's doing well today. The first order of news is, do you have your HAPI copy? That's all I need to know. Have you seen HAPI? And if you have not, you need to go to our website. Okay, you can get a digital download, or you can just go ahead and pick up the DVD. And while you're on our website, right there, getting our DVD, you need to also check out our newsletter. Just sign up. It's a little button up there that says newsletter. Make sure you sign up so that you can get all the HAPI news. We give an update to HAPI. We also we do every single newsletter. We have a health article. We have an economic innovator, someone who has laid the pathway for us to be here right now. And we also have some financial 101 news. And we are always making sure that we look at a Black-owned business or a couple of Black-owned businesses. And all of these things as in our newsletter also supports our HAPI movement, which is number 1, love Black people. Number 2, support Black businesses. Number 3 is to teach, become financially literate. And number 4, teach the youth the truth. So by joining and getting onto this newsletter, we're feeding this information. And also, if you check all of our social media platforms, we commonly will put things that you can do to work towards those principles on a daily basis. So it's very important for you guys to go to hapifilm.com, pick up your DVD, or get the digital download, sign up for the newsletter. And you can also, we have DVDs and all that stuff, but we also have gear. And this is one of our newer shirts right there, HAPI. It has a little HAPI on the side, HAPI on the side. So make sure, you guys pick up your gear and support Black-owned businesses. So let me tell you why tonight is really special. Tonight is special because this guest was actually our first guest when we first, started thinking about doing this show. Dr. Wade Nobles came through. So he was our first guest. So it was really cool because we started around this time last year. And it's nice that he's here almost this is kind of like our rolling anniversary. So without further ado, let me just introduce you to Dr. Wade Nobles. Hey, Dr. Wade Nobles.
Felicia, how are you? I'm glad to be back with you.
I'm so happy to see you.
You made it more significant saying this is an anniversary, so I'm really glad that we've circled the loop.
Circle the loop. That's what it's about. Circling the loop. Oh man. Let me see. Where do we even get started? Last time you were here, you gave us Zola. You gave us a lot of good things. Black people loving up on other Black people. And I see everyone in the chat is just they're going wild with you tonight, which is great. So like I was saying, during our first visit, you shared with us the wonderful concept of Zola. Can you just briefly explain the philosophy of Zola for those who didn't see it?
Yeah, well, very quickly, we may not realize it, but that we are Bantu people. Europe just divided up Africa and made us think that every little country that they used their crayon to create was our identity. But in actuality, we are Bantu people. And from that Bantu linguistic cultural heritage, there's the language of the Congo, the Kikongo. Congo have a term called Zola, Z-O-L-A. And Zola means love, but it's not the sort of silly romantic love that we get in the West about falling in love with somebody. Zola is actually an activator that activates our self-healing potential. We are genetically coded to be well. We're not genetically coded to be crippled or to be inferior, etc. Our DNA is designed for us to be well and whole. And Zola was a word that the Kikongo created that actually activates. It's like turning the light on. It activates something called Ngolo, which is our self-healing potential. So what we've done through the Association of Black Psychologists is to introduce the idea of Zola up on we, that we can say to each other, Zola up. And we say to you, I say to you, Felicia, Zola up. I am literally activating your self-healing potential. And so that the energy in you that is spirit gets activated. So Zola is an important concept that helps us, if we embrace it as an African people, to say to each other, Zola up on we are in a very nuanced way stimulating our inner power to be well. So Zola up on we is we're saying hashtag Zola up on we, but we're really saying I want to activate. My being in your presence is to activate your self-healing potential to be well.
Wow. You know, as you're talking, I was sitting here thinking that we may need to change the first HAPI principle. You know,
that's your authority to do what you will. We have the authority to do what we will. And so as we learn more and we refine ourselves, we can begin to do just that kind of thing.
Yeah. So you know what, Dr. Nobles, how did you, or why did you, or how did you end up in psychology? You know, like, because you're so good at it. Like, how?
I like telling this story. That's why I laugh. When I was born, my mother went to work in an insane asylum in Massachusetts, and we lived before there was television, right? So she would come home every night and tell me and my brother these stories about what was going on in this insane asylum, and she would point out that there were these crazy white doctors and black patients who were captured. And she used that kind of language. And so I grew up being nurtured about this thing called psychology and mental illness, but it was not just a universal thing. It was really to recognize that we had something. We as black people had something called being mentally well, and the systems that we were brought into, i.e. white psychology, didn't serve us well. So I was nurtured very early on about what is this thing that we should be talking about as black psychology, and not this white psychology that we inherit that seems to be more an incarceration than a restoration. So I say that I was born to become a psychologist because my mother nurtured me with ideas and thoughts about what is well, what is mentally healthy as a child. And so before we got television, we had storytelling from my mother, and then television came in the scene. And as you all know, the first images that television saw to introduce to black folk were the Amos and Andy stories. And Amos and Andy was really a buffoonery. It was an attempt to make our middle class, our black businessmen, our black families, something to be laughed at.
Mm. Yeah, you know, and just to keep on this line of whiteness, okay, so like in the Western societies and even some places in Africa, we're just immersed with a European culture. Okay, how does this really impact our psyche?
Well, it's sort of complex and simple at the same time. Ideas are the substance of behavior, and what whiteness does is create a set of ideas that defame and denigrate blackness. So when we embrace all over the world these white ideas, we internalize the negativity and the nullification of who we are. Mm. And whiteness is really a new concept. The idea of whiteness really started in the popular mindset or mindscape around the 1600s. We've been walking this planet for 1.4 million years. And so 1600s is when we started hearing the conversation about whiteness that, in my opinion, morphed itself, mutated itself to become the illness of white supremacy. And it is this pathology of white supremacy that has infected people all over the world, So it's very important that we have a body of folk called psychologists, or in my thinking, Saku Shetis, which is the illumination of the spirit. We have this body of folk who can help right that wrong. See, I think that the academic disciplines of psychology and anthropology were the political tools that attempted to kill the African's ability to think and to know.
Yeah. Yes. So, okay. So this idea, this is one of the ways that we can combat this. And I know that you're part of an organization, the American Black Psychologists of America. Wait, what is the organization?
There's no American on it.
Oh, that was just like, what is it?
The National Association of Black Psychologists.
Yes.
The National
America on there. Okay, so what are ways that we can combat this? Because whiteness just seems to be all around us.
Well, I think that we should clearly begin to, and this will be hard for a lot of us, begin to realize that when you are struggling right now, we've had a year of this pandemic. Mm-hmm. We had a year of all this, this lockdown, is the social distancing and vaccine and no vaccine. We've been in a traumatic state. The whole world has been traumatized, and so we as Black people are looking for, where do I find help? Where do I have conversations that are healing and that can give me the kind of strategies that I need to get past this? We will get past it, I should point out, but it seems to me you got to be very selective about what mental health specialists you seek or go to for help. And that's where the National Association of Black Psychologists comes in. There are other folks around that are part of the Association of Black Psychologists, like what's it called? It's called the Black Therapy Central. It's a group of Black psychologists that provide therapy from an African-centered perspective. So don't just say I'm depressed. I feel angry. I'm having difficulty with my thoughts. Let me seek out a psychologist. You can't do that. You got to seek out the mental health specialist that has been given some thought to what's the grounding in African thought, because we're African people. And so I would encourage your listeners to seek out Black Therapist Central, seek out the National Association of Black Psychologists, and look at those trained mental health specialists in these organizations that you can seek help from, because we are going through some very stressful times. I mean, the whole strategy around combating or protecting ourselves from COVID-19 forgets to mention that we need to protect ourselves from white supremacy 19.
Yes.
So we have a dual pandemic that we're struggling with, but in that dual pandemic, some of the strategies that people have talked about, like social distancing, like washing your hands, like wearing a mask, all those things are necessary, but they also are sort of antithetical to our cultural lifestyle. We don't do social distancing. We see people, we give high fives, we hug, we kiss, we're not coming with unless we got our posse with us. Our young kids walk with groups. So all the things that they're talking about that we should be doing, unfortunately, are antithetical to our cultural fabric. So we have to weather the storm. We need to make sure that once we get past this pandemic, we don't adopt these strategies as our lifestyle. We need to go back to making sure we go to Big Mama's house, go to get our cousins and folks and Bubby and them to come around and hang out with. We need to go back to those ways that are our cultural ways, because we can't survive, I believe, as a people that live by socially distancing from each other. We can't survive as a people who are afraid of being infected by being close to someone else. So we have to sort of weather the storm, but make sure we hold on to the very fabric of our culture in our mindscape. I use that word mindscape, like a landscape. There's a mindscape of ideas and attitudes and values and beliefs that are African-centered. We need to keep mining that landscape so that we come out of this COVID pandemic with enough strength to now turn our attention to dealing with this white supremacy pandemic, because that's been ongoing, and we're not giving no attention to that. Even though I may say, sort of with tongue in cheek, some of the strategies around COVID-19 may work for white supremacy 19, like social distancing. Maybe we should keep some space between us and infected white supremacists. Now, understand that the idea of white supremacy being a pathology is important to understand. All white people are not necessarily white supremacists, and some black people are white supremacists.
Absolutely.
Because it's an infection, it's a disease. And like disease, there are people who are walking around that are asymptomatic. Asymptomatic. Those white folk that sit in silence and do nothing when they see George Floyd being killed on television and don't have no sense of anger and want to do something, but they're asymptomatically white supremacists. Those teachers in classrooms who look at our black children and look over them to get some other child encouragement to learn, that's an asymptomatic white supremacist. You see, there are white supremacists that don't show the symptoms of a toothpick in your mouth and an axe handle and cussing and drinking. Or those folk that attempted to do a coup d'etat in America when they invaded the national capital and tried to overthrow the government. Those are rabid, overt white supremacists, but there were folks in that meeting who were military people, who were police officers, who were good, upstanding politicians who up until that moment were asymptomatic. They didn't tell themselves to be white supremacists. So you see, so we have to begin to look at these things and say, well, maybe we should ask our best and brightest to, when we come out of the COVID pandemic, ask our best and brightest, just like they organize all the scientists and the chemists and the anatomists and physiologists to come up with this warp speed COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
Maybe when we get out of this, we should do the same kind of thing. Bring together our best and brightest and say, let's get a warp speed anti-white supremacy pathology vaccine, so we can figure out, and it may be mental, not no physical shot, but we can figure out how to give us this spirit shot, this energizer, this inoculation against white supremacy.
Yes. Okay, so with this impact of like whiteness on us, is there a difference between how this impacts men and women, or are we just impacted the same?
Well, there are differences, but you see, I think that, if I may, I think we need to give more time to rescuing our way and not figuring out how does white supremacy hurt us.
Okay.
We're always dealing with what white supremacy is doing. But if white supremacy went away today, who would we be? How would we be? What would be the relationship between black men and black women, with African men, African adults and children, elders and youngers? So I think that we need to give some attention to rescuing our fundamental voice, the narrative of being African. Rescue that. In a way, I've said several times that, just as the darkness knows what to do when the light comes on, if we illuminate our blackness, whiteness will know what to do. But we spend a lot of time trying to figure out, how have they hurt us? Did they hurt black women more than they hurt black men? Black women were raped during slavery. Black women were raped during slavery. Sometimes black men were raped. We were lynched. We do all this comparison about, well, maybe your harm was greater than my harm. It ain't the harm that's important. The harm is important because we have to remediate that. We have to heal that. But it is the doer of the harm that we give too much attention to. We give too much attention to the perpetrators of evil and not elevate the perpetrators of divine goodness. And I think that it's our divine goodness that we get sometime we're going to give some attention to. I do know that if white supremacy is a disease, and I think it is, then the intelligent thing for me to do is to inoculate myself from the disease or to prevent the disease from infecting more people. That's the initial strategy. But in doing that, I still got to talk about what does wellness look like? What does health look like? What does African wholeness look like? How do we talk about, and this is interesting, this whole pandemic is forced the African world through Zooms to start talking to each other.
Absolutely.
I've been talking to Africans in Germany, in Japan, all over the Caribbean, in Africa. Yeah. We're talking, the families talking to each other like we've never done before.
Yeah.
But we have to talk each other with an authentic voice. We can't have this global conversation and we'd be nothing but echoes of white thought. We can't be echoing white thought. We have to figure out, here's my voice, here's my power, German black folk. Here's my power, Trinidadian. Here's my thought, Jamaican. Here's my thought, Black Brit. Here's my thought, Louisiana black folk. And we need to be talking about the whole global world having this conversation about wellness. What does it mean to be well and whole for black people on African terms, not on let's take some white stuff and paint it black and call it our medicine.
Yes. You know, I was just thinking when you use this analogy of the vaccination, you know, the whole thing now, everyone's talking about with how do you get over COVID, you know, so it doesn't impact you, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's talking about creating this alkaline body. And so as you were talking, I was thinking about creating just, you know, it, like you said, activating our African body, coming up with this African wellness. Oh, wow. Oh, we must
ideas are the substance of behavior. And what ideas do we want to have flourishing in our communities? What ideas? You know, we're still coming to the legacy of the ideas about if you white, you're all right. If you brown, stick around. If you black, jump back. And we do double Dutch dances with that stuff. That's an idea. And so once I internalize that idea, then I always see blackness is on the back burner. Blackness is not being relevant. So let's figure out how do we get our poets and to get our rap artists to start spitting ideas and become substance of our new behavior. You know, and it ain't really new behavior. It's rescuing our old behavior. We knew we are the first humans. We know how to do human. See, we know how to do human.
We know how to do human.
We know how to do human until we were disrupted and derailed by Western European American domination. But if we get past that, we can rescue Big Mama's ways. I'm talking about Dinkwanesh, the first black woman that let the whole humanity come forward. I'm talking, how do we rescue Big Mama's ways and use Big Mama's thoughts and attitudes and hand on her hip and shaking her neck and to let people know there's muscle memory. See, think about it. We got muscle memory that we do all the time when we dance, but we don't tie that dance motion to wellness. We've been taught that because of the honky tonk, we go to do dancing because it's bad, and the Christian religion said, "Oh, you're singing that devil's music." And so we get all this confusion coming around. When in fact, matter, our making a joyful noise unto the Lord was both Christian music, but it was also B.B. King.
Mm-hmm.
Balls. And also the Commodores. All that stuff we got to go back and look at and think about. That's our stuff. That's our stuff. So let's rescue our way. Let's rescue our way. And some of our way has gotten dirty and nasty, so we got to wash it up, clean it up, because we've been living in sort of infected pool. So pull the baby out. Don't throw the baby out with the bath water. No, pull the baby out the dirty water and wash them off.
Yes.
Wash all that crud of ideas like black people are inferior, that black people can't organize and do stuff, that we need white folks to come. If my child gets in trouble, I gotta find me a Jewish lawyer because we ain't got no good lawyers. That idea in our minds that we don't have good lawyers comes directly out of Amos and Andy movies in the 50s, where the lawyer was the shark. He was useless. He's always hurt the people. So we got internalized these ideations about what is valuable, what is valuable in blackness. Even early on in psychology, when Kenneth Clark did the doll studies, when he had a little black doll and white doll, and the black kids chose the white doll over the black doll. They didn't come from heaven with that idea. They weren't born to give preference to whiteness. That was imposed on us. infused in us. So we got to use the same power of thought to think about what are these critical ideas that we want to see as if ideas are the substance of behavior, and I believe it is. Ideas are substance of behavior. When you say niggas ain't shit, excuse that's technical language, that's not a curse. When you say niggas ain't shit, then I get in my car and drive out of my community, go to the white community to buy ice cream, because I believe that white community ice cream is better than black community's ice cream. And ice cream is just ice cream. You see, but because the ideas of substance behavior, we get distorted ideas and we get dysfunctional behavior. So we got to create a set of ideas that allow our behaviors to walk in the world with dignity and with affirmation. Let me give you just a few ideas that I think we could play with. What is majesty? An idea, majesty, majestic. How do we create those ideas so that we walk in the world saying, I am the cause and the consequence of being majestic? What would a rap singer do if he could create a rap song that talks about majesty? Bob Marley is the closest one that's been able to do that, but he was still struggling with trying to clean up the imposition of British on his mind. But just think about the idea of majesty. Majesty, the cause and consequence of that which is dignified. So as a black man, I want to have ideas that allow me to say, I am the cause and consequence of majesty, and I walk in the world with dignity. Here's a formula now. We got a formula we can work with. Here's another idea. Excellence. Excellence is an idea. And our old folks do it all the time. They would say, baby, you going off that school, don't you come back no educated fool. They say, you go get the excellence, don't get the okie doke. You see, so excellence becomes an idea. Now, ask the question, how can I be the cause and the consequence of excellence that represents I always seek to be outstanding? The way I walk. And your sisters all the time, when you all strut, that's excellence. You see, that's excellence. But we don't. Our behavioral science don't put our stuff in the right perspective. But that's it. Look at this idea about what's proper. Old folks used to always say, "Don't you go out this house with your drawers turned. You might get hit in the car, and you could hit the hospital. You got dirty drawers on." They said there's a proper way to be. We said there's a proper way to be. So again, the question: what is the cause and consequence that allows me to represent the appropriate alignment with my purpose? I don't just do anything and everything. I'm not let loose on the schoolyard, do anything and everything. Even our games that we play as an old school time, there were lessons to be learned in the game: cooperation, participation, fairness, justice. All those things were part of the little games we played in the schoolyard. But we gotta go back and collect that up. Another idea: joy. I love this joy. Joy. Be the cause and the consequence of that which attracts comfort and happiness. When I walk in the world, and I walk in my house, my children should feel joy. Not say, oh damn, daddy's home now. Oh man, we got all that moaning we do. No, when we walk into each other's presence, I should stimulate comfort and happiness. I feel better when you're with me. I feel better around you. I feel safe around you. I feel secure around you. That's joy. So you see what I'm doing? I'm operationalizing these ideas that are the substance of behavior. Let's look at another idea. Beauty. When I locked on, you was hooking yourself up. She was hooking herself up because beauty is important. You don't just show your face in your way. You don't let your hair be all crazy. But beauty is the cause and the consequence of that which is pleasing and harmonious. When I see you, I should feel it's pleasing to look at you. We should walk in our community and see black folk and be pleased by seeing black folk. Back in the day in Harlem on Sunday morning, old men and women would put their best Sunday dress on, baby carriage, and they'd walk down. They didn't walk; they strutted from church. Because in strutting, they were saying, I'm pleasing. It is you pleasing to me. And now think about that. Think what happens, we get corrupted. Right now, brothers are taught we can't say to sister, girl, you sure is looking fine. because that's now considered sexual harassment. I can say to you, girl, you're looking fine, because the idea that drives me is beauty. And when I see your beauty, I should be able to say, oh, God. I can be able to say, brother, damn, you see that, sister? You see, that's ideas of the substance of behavior. And then one that I really like, it became even more important when Barack Obama and the Church of the Killings sang Amazing Grace. Grace. We took that song that was created, Amazing Grace, was taken from a rehab slave merchant. But we took that and we did that. We took the song from him, brushed off the dirt from the baby's body, and raised up Amazing Grace as almost an anthem. But what is grace? Grace is to be the cause and consequence of honor, of worth, of esteem. When I see your grace, when I see you being the cause of grace, I'm seeing you stimulating honor in me, esteem in me, the idea of being, you are worthy. I was just writing a little note to myself about a self-reflection, and I was talking about my love with my wife. And I said in my own notes, I love this woman because, one, she helped me to see that I was worthy. How did this woman love me? If that woman, this woman, your brother said this queen, we make that, you my queen, kind of silly now, but if this queen could love me, then I must be worthy. I must be worth something. And that is really what grace is. My wife taught me how to be in grace, not to be graceful. I'm no ballet dancer here. Taught me to be in grace. You see, so these are ideas now. Now the final one I want to suggest is elegance. Elegance. Billie Holiday, when she sang Strange Fruit, she was making an elegant enunciation against the destruction of Black lives. She gave the anthem of Black Lives Matter before the babies were now talking about Black Lives Matter were even a glimmer in their parents' eyes. She stood up and sang away in such a way that it was elegant. It was the cause and consequence. Remember, there was always cause and consequence. It was the cause and consequence that reflects being outstanding, being nearly perfect. Our tradition, our African said, only God is perfect. But I have to always continually seek to be perfect. I'm seeking to be perfect. I can't be perfect. That's all right, though. But I can seek perfection. So everything I do, I seek perfection because I am driven by the idea of elegance. With Black men, we're not allowed to play in the sports arena. As soon as we, quote, integration happened and Black men get drafted on the basketball court, we took the very game that white people invented. They invented basketball. They invented it. We took that same game, and because we're driven by elegance, we said, I'm gonna do this in an outstanding way. I ain't doing it like that. When I get on the court, you're gonna see outstanding on the court because I am driven by the idea of elegance. See, so what I've just done now is given language to the ideas that we may want to embrace, become the substance of our behavior. What if we took all these 7 ideas I just laid out and said every single school teacher that works with our children must figure out how to craft their lesson plans so that on a daily basis, I'm internalizing my children. Not only learn the ABCs and learn reading, writing, and arithmetic, but they're also internalizing that they are the cause and the consequence of beauty, majestic, proper, grace, elegance. We'd be walking the world differently. So that's why I think we need to clearly protect ourselves from this pandemic. But we also need to be thinking about what we're going to do come post-pandemic. How are we going to be come post-pandemic? How are we going to rescue our stuff? And put the social distancing to white supremacy. Let's put some social distancing to white supremacy and then give our energy to affirming what it means to be African. What does it mean to be African? And then build institutions, build programs, build services that are grounded in our stuff.
Okay. Okay. Oh gosh, so much. All right. So let me take a deep breath. So, Dr. Knowles, what you just went over, is that written down anywhere? I mean, like, is that a reference? I mean, you
You
know.
know, I don't know if you can see this, but I have a little card I made that's talking about healing the whole race, and
Oh,
those 7 things are laid out there.
oh my
I can send
God.
this to you. Huh?
Yes. Yes. We still have your
For me,
document.
it's a cheat sheet, but it's also a reminder of what we need to do in terms of. Again, I'm creating a formula, and the formula is that ideas are the substance of behavior. If that is true, then what ideas do we walk in the world with? And so I created my little 7 attributes of being spirit as a cheat sheet for how do we heal a whole people. I'm not a psychologist. I can bring you to my office, sit you on the couch, and we can talk about your childhood trauma. No, we got to heal. We got to heal the whole world, the whole
Yeah.
people. Every African on this planet has been damaged. See, think of how serious a crime against humanity has been made. Every single African on this planet has been harmed by colonialism and enslavement.
Yeah.
Even Barack Obama, sitting in the White House as the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, was harmed. And he did the best he can with what he got. And that's what we all do. We do the best we can with what we got. But now some thinkers, and I think that we who are in the mental health field and psychology should be leading this thinking, have to give some thought to how do we restore that which has been damaged? How do we not rehabilitate? How do we restore that which has been damaged? Because rehabilitation means you fix that which is broken. But if you're living in a broken house in a swamp and you fix the broken house, you're still in a swamp.
Yeah. Yeah.
But restoration, the reality that has to be realigned in its proper space, in its proper way. So I think that we need to be giving some thought to restoration.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we're coming to the
Is that your?
No. No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. We're because I know we are getting down on your time. So okay, and you're gonna have to come back, Dr. Nobles, because we got much more.
Once a year. Once a year, you said. I gotta come back once a year. No, I'm only kidding. I'll come back whenever the calendar allows. We can do that.
Yeah, I know you guys are. I tell you, the elders, you guys are getting it in right now. Okay, so
Let me stop you, baby. We elders are getting it in, and we elders are passing the torch. You youngers got to pick it up. We're leaving you the footprints, but you all got to step in the footprints and go forward. You all can go far more and far higher than we go in our lifetime. So we ain't dead, we ain't over, but we should be thinking about how we pass the torch, pass the baton, so that you youngers pick up the stuff and make it even stronger and better.
Yeah, Professor Small was on last week and or 2 weeks ago, and he talked about that. We had a younger Chase McGee who's writing these beautiful books called Voices of the Ancestors, and so we talked about this idea of elder, with the young folks and passing that baton. So I appreciate you for saying that. Absolutely.
And there is a requirement in my reading and understanding of African thought. There is a requirement of making sure that the intergenerational transfer of wealth and wisdom is intact. We should be transferring to the next generation our wealth, whatever that is. But for me, more importantly, we should be transferring to the next generation our wisdom. Not through the prism of white thought, but our wisdom that is pure, clear, clean, show enough blackness.
Yes. Okay. All right. Just 2 quick questions. All right. So in HAPI, and if you guys didn't know, Dr. Wade Nobles is in HAPI, just dropping all types of jewels for us. So in HAPI, when you say the rule of exchange is what affirms your being, okay, what do you mean by that?
There's an underlying principle to regulation, human regulations. Mm-hmm. So the rule of exchange has been captured as an economic exchange and has been contaminated by capitalism as the economic exchange. So everything has a price in that system. So the exchange is, how do I exchange your value that gives me more value? That's what slavery was about. Slavery was taking our labor and translating it as an engagement of man to labor, translating that into profit. The rule of engagement for Africa, seems to me, has to be not a quid pro quo. You work for an hour, I give you an hour's worth of salary. You work for that. No, that's quid pro quo. Unfortunately, when it applied to us, they didn't take that. They said, no, you work for free. You're going to work for free for 400 years. So that there's a justification for this now conversation about pure enough, straight up reparations. There's that there. But the rules of engagement should say that in my relationship with you, I don't do quid pro quo. I give you better than I got from you. I give you better than I got from you. And Big Mama did it all the time. So Big Mama, she said, baby, go across the street and see Miss Wilson and ask her, can I borrow a cup of sugar? I go get the cup of sugar. She come back. Mama didn't wait till the cake was cool enough to cut before she sent back a piece of cake to Miss Washington. That's what she did. She didn't send back a cup of sugar. She wasn't devious. Wait a minute, I'm gonna send back 16 ounces of sugar that I got from her, and I'm gonna send back 15 ounces at night so she won't see I got over. We didn't operate that way. We said, whatever you give me, I'm gonna give back better. That's the rule of engagement.
Yes.
So reciprocity for us is not quid pro quo. Reciprocity for us is give back better than what you get. Give back better than what you get. That's the rule of engagement.
Man, Dr. Knowles, you are, God, you're everything.
I'm Andy John's baby boy. That's who I am.
Yes. I mean, the way that you are just breaking this down. I mean, this is how we're going to be okay. By adopting these principles, I mean, the way that you're laying this out is getting back, it's restoring who we are. This is how we're going to be okay. And it's just like you said, it's like, we know this. This is just, you just is reactivating our muscles. Oh man, this is great. Okay, this is my last question and you have to go. I know. So this is the last one. So
she didn't put me up. You got to go. She kicked me out.
I know. That sounded like, well, you got to go. I know. Because this is, I love the statement from you. And this is, and you say this in HAPI as well. Power is the ability to define reality and have people respond to your definition as if it were their own. Yes. Can you just explain that to us?
That one I hope is straightforward, but the recognizing that who defines reality is the one who has power. And so at one point, the whole world went to Africa as the light of humanity. Mm-hmm. And at some point, the invaders made Africa a dark continent. And a dark continent, once they defined Africa as a dark continent, they had the power to define our reality as Africans. And once we internalized that, we gave them power. And so now fast forward, we got jobs, we got money. I'm gonna go on vacation. Very few, until recently, very few people said, I'm going on vacation. Where you going? I'm gonna go to Paris. I'm gonna go to England. I'm gonna go to Brussels. You see, our minds have been, the power of someone else defining where is the goodness was internalized into us. So power is the ability to define reality. Once I take the power to define your reality, i.e. niggas ain't shit, then everything I do is anti-blackness. That's the power to have, power to define reality. So it seems to me we have to seize the power of defining our stuff, defining reality. We should define space and time. We should take the power of defining space and time. And once you get to that, define what's beyond space and time. What is the afterlife? What is the pre-life? There are things that we have the power to define, but we haven't had the intellectual discussion amongst ourselves to what that means. And even if I use the afterlife, even when we talk about people dying, we say quiet ourselves that my mama came to me last night and she spoke to me, but out loud, we said, well, I don't believe no dead people come to me, but we need to define that there are realms of there are realms in reality. There's the visible realm and there's the invisible realm. Well, when do we have a conversation with the dwellers of the invisible realm? Our ancestors live in the invisible realm and they see what we can't see. Think about that. The ancestors who are alive in the invisible realm can see what we can't see.
Yes.
So why can't we have conversation with them? That's what porn libation is. That's what divination is. That we have conversation with the invisible ones. And having conversations with the invisible ones, they tell us, no, there's some evil in your path. You got to kill a goat. You got to get 5 cowrie shells. You got to go get pure water and pour it over your wife's head. All these little things they tell us has physics behind them, but we don't see it as physics because they made us take our spirit system and put it in pagan religion. Put our spirit science into pagan religion. It's optional, but once we rescue it back and say, no, this is our spirit science, then spirit science, like science is, there are natural laws of the universe that can't be violated. The apple going to come down on the ground because gravity is a law. Apple ain't going to stay there. It's going to come down and hit the ground. So there are laws of the natural, divine, governed universe that are our spirit science that we got to rescue, bring back, and start working with that, figuring that out. Ask the visible ones. Ask the dwellers of heaven. Should I buy this car? It's real basic. This guy is talking about, he's talking fast. He's going to make a deal. Before you say yes, go speak to the invisible ones because they can see what we can't see. Yeah. They can see the energy of this salesperson that is evil that we can't see. We see him smiling. He dressed nice. He's cool. He's walking around talking about, yeah, I make a deal with you. Let me go talk to my boss if I can get you a better deal. He's doing all that kind of talk. We can't see that. Our ancestors can. They can see what we can't see. So we should begin to have a full conversation of African humanity. It's a fullness. It ain't no part stuff. It ain't just the material. It's the material and the immaterial. It's male, female. It's everything. It is, and in fact, I'll stop with that. It is everything. We got to rescue our wellness, rescue our wholeness. We got to be whole, divine human beings. We can't be well because white people say you a good Negro. We're gonna let you come here and work for us. No, I'm gonna come work for you, but my plan is once I start working for you in 5 years, I'm gonna take this company back, and I'm gonna be the owner of the company, and then I'm gonna make sure that all Black folk have a livelihood where they can acquire that stuff that sustains life. We're gonna have a strategy. We're gonna have tactics. We're gonna understand what our purpose is, and our purpose is to be divine. Our purpose, if the universe is all spirit and all divine, then my purpose is only to be divine. That's my level. I can only be divine. I can't. Now, it's hard to do this sometimes because I bump into a lot of stuff. But I came from heaven in the Yoruba tradition. I had a conversation with God, chose my head, came to the earth with a purpose, and my purpose was to be divine and to make that which I encounter work for my divinity.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. I know you have to go.
Is Professor Smalls on here yet?
No, Professor Small isn't here. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to stop the show because I know you need to leave, and we're going to come back with Professor Small at 8:30 for everyone that's looking. Okay, and then we'll pick up. But okay,
that works. Please tell Professor Smalls that he has to clean up and correct every mistake I made in this conversation.
No, I am sitting here I'm holding back tears because, especially when you talk about the ancestors, all of this. But okay, Dr. Nobles, you got to come back, and you have to come back like soon. I know you got a packed schedule, and we can change things around for you because you're dropping so much knowledge. We got to sit here. We just have to first is take this in. Okay, just the seven words you gave us. We got to take this.
Seven attributes of being divine, of being divine spirit.
The 7 attributes. You can't drop stuff like this and then roll out. Okay, so you're gonna come. Okay, you gotta come back in a month or so. Okay, even if I gotta come down to where you are and sit with you. Okay, you gotta come back and we gotta continue this conversation.
Let me show you how the ancestors work. When I accepted to come back and have this conversation, I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I said, well, what? You all ask me some questions and I'll answer. So once you ask me something next time, I'll say whatever comes to me. Because I really do believe our best, and I'm not sure I'm one of them yet, but our best intellectuals were conduits for divine inspiration. So if I say anything that is valuable and well, it's because the ancestors have sent it through me. Absolutely. It ain't me. I'm a conduit.
Absolutely. Likewise.
Thank you so very much, Felicia.
Thank you. And we will.
You hooked up that. You hooked yourself up. I could not but be excellent. That's the rule of engagement. You hooked it up. I couldn't help but I had to step up.
There it is. I'm trying to give you more than you're giving me. There it is.
That's all it. Right. Always give us. All right. Thank you.
All right. Peace. Okay, guys. So listen, we're coming back with Professor Small, and he's gonna continue to break some more stuff down with us. This has been everybody. I know you guys are feeling this conversation, and we're going to definitely get Dr. Nobles to come back, onto the show so he can continue the conversation he's supposed to have with us. But look, this is right here. If you have not seen HAPI, you have to see this. See, these are the types of scholars that we have. That's all in one film. We have 30 of our brightest scholars in HAPI. And so it's very important. I'm gonna put this back up here for you guys to if you have not seen it, you can digitally download it. You can get a DVD copy. We're gonna have screenings, coming up. Just go to our website, hapifilm.com, and get the DVD, because along with Dr. Nobles, we have Professor Small, we have Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, Asar Imhotep, Dr. Solange Ashby, Charles Barron. We have so many scholars in here dropping knowledge. And so this is the work of HAPI. So I promise you guys, I will be back at 8:30. So everyone has like 35 minutes, okay, just to get a little drink of water, get a little dinner, and then come back and join us at 8:30. We will be back. Thank you. And before I go, I want to just shout out everyone that's in our chat. George Ames. And let me tell you about George Ames. George Ames is a full-on supporter. Every platform we get on, everywhere we go, he's always leaving us some really good, comments and always supporting us. So thank you very much. Child of Ogun, thank you for your donation. And the two other people that also donated to us. And if you want to donate, you can just go to HAPI. You can use our Cash App or the Super Chat that's in YouTube. And I will show you our Cash App is right there at HAPI Film. And this is how we keep, when you contribute to us, this is the way that we can make sure we keep bringing the best programming back to you. Of course, Michelle Jewell, always in here. I see Elena, the DM. You guys are always supporting us. And one other piece, there's a bunch of elders that always get on with us. And so I just want to give a special shout out to John Henry Staples. He's in Florida. Rashamela Kumbo. Oh my gosh, she's wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Leonard and Rosalind Jeffries. We know that they are always watching and supporting. And so this is, and also thank you, Black Silk Yoga. Now, anybody who got their newsletter this month should have seen that we did a special thing on Black Silk Yoga. They are a couples comedic yoga team. You guys have got to check them out. So if you have not, and I'm going to say this again, please go to our newsletter, to our website and sign up for the newsletter, hapifilm.com, so that you can see, so you can get this newsletter, because we always have really good information. And Black Silk Yoga, they're a beautiful couple doing beautiful things out in Atlanta. So definitely make sure you sign up for the newsletter so we can get that out to you. But yes, just thank everyone. King Simon, I see Lilius White is in the chat. Lilius White is actually the voice of HAPI. She's the narrator of HAPI. So I want to say a special shout out to her. Frank Robinson. And the other piece, we really want to, we welcome all the comments and that you guys leave on our social media platforms and on our YouTube videos. Please, if you have not subscribed to the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, make sure. We finally made it to 13,000 subscribers. So this is huge. We started off a year ago at about, I think, like 565. So we're plugging along. Just thank you. You guys, please support. And we will be back tonight at 8:30 with Professor Small, and he's going to continue this conversation and let you know about an activity that's coming up. All right. So thank you guys so much, and peace.
I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority, honestly.
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?